personally,
Yeah.
especially virtually.
Yeah, that's challenging. Usually when I've been in large ones, if you had a question, you would ask by chat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that option is there. So I will do that instead. I just tend to not be as comfortable with that large of a group.
Yeah, myself either. I was on one yesterday for my administrative secretary job, and it wasn't very long. Gratefully, the folks who do it are, they're very good at what they do, and so it was very much to the point. There were 180 people there.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yesterday, all the supervisors for each service site were there too, so it was a little over 100 people in the room.
Yeah. It's really quite amazing when you think about it. Previously, these meetings that I went to, this is, as I said, for my other job, which I have to do the licensing for the athletic club. So it's with the Alcoholic Beverages Commission. And usually they do them regionally. And there's, we go to the Montague Town Hall and we're all packed in this one room. And now they could do the whole state.
Right, all at once.
In less than an hour. Yeah. Yeah. So, Penny's here. So it looks like, oh, wait.
Oh, there's Becky.
Well, Becky's not really here. She had to,
she told me she wasn't feeling well today.
She isn't here. She had to host the meeting because there's another meeting tonight of the web committee. And so that's using the Zoom address that we normally would be using. So Becky set us up and had to start the meeting.
I see. And so we won't have last week's fiasco again.
Correct.
Yay.
Yeah, I just enabled the waiting room. If that wasn't enabled before, so I enabled the waiting room so that, it's up to you. We can just let everybody come in, but somehow it seems good to be able to just, Liam, if you want to acknowledge people so we know why they're here, if that's good. Okay. Russ, I don't think Russ is coming. He called to say that he had a family commitment. Nothing's wrong, but he had something that he needed to do.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know where Penny went.
I'm here. I don't know where I went either. Can you not hear me?
Yes, it just didn't. It usually says
that lovely butterscotch color.
Yeah, it usually says your name across the front.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
That's why.
It was there for a minute and then it went away.
Yeah.
You have construction paper across your webcam?
Me?
Yeah.
Tape. It's orange.
Tape. Okay.
So once you get oriented, how many hours a week will you work, Liam?
37 and a half. So pretty much a full-time load.
Wow, nice.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, it's exciting. And it will be more outdoor oriented once next week starts.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
So I think it'll be about 50-50 between visiting Kestrel properties and, stewarding them, and then doing some projects mostly around the Robert Frost Trail. They're really interested in the Robert Frost Trail and becoming like the Friends of group of the Robert Frost Trail.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to do some projects around that. which I'm really excited about because I love that trail and I think it's very underrated.
Nice.
Well, good. You sound like the perfect person to be working on it.
Yeah, I was really excited when I did the interview because I didn't know they were really interested in doing projects surrounding it, and I've spent a lot of time on the trail. So I know it well, and I'll get to know, you know, people who are interested in it in the towns it goes through as we go. So it's very exciting.
Good. Good. Well, you can help us understand better the inner workings of Kestrel.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be well informed very soon.
That's great. So have you met these people in person, or has it all been virtual so far?
It's all been virtual. Soon, they do weekly meetings outside, I believe. So I will get to meet people in person soon. And I've really only spoken to Chris Vellante so far. She's one of the land conservation stewards there. So she'll be my supervisor.
Oh, good. She's the person that we've worked with the most on things. So
great.
Yeah, she seems good. I did want to ask you, it sounds like your schedule is really tight, and so I was thinking about site visits, and we have gotten into the habit of doing them during the day, during the week, which I fear will exclude you. And we can certainly talk about a different time if you're interested in being part of them.
Yeah, and since they only happen every couple weeks and they're only a few hours, I think that there will be some flexibility for me to kind of move my hours around during the week too.
Okay.
And I think I would prefer to continue doing them during the week if possible. And I'm going to talk to Chris about that starting next week, I think.
Okay, well, give it some thought, because, you know, there have been times when a number of the commissioners also worked, and so we would do them Sunday morning, or if the light helped or was available, we would do them before our meetings on Thursdays. So, you know, if we need to, we can talk about other alternatives.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
And it is 7 now.
Yes, and I've made you co-host, Liam, so you'll be able to manage the participants and whenever.
Yeah, I'm going to let 3 folks in. It's the folks from Nietzsche and Miriam.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we should open our meeting, or should we wait till Liam gets people?
They're all in.
Okay, they're all in. Okay, so we'll open our meeting on September 3rd at 7 p.m. and hope things work more smoothly than they did last week at the same time. Linda, can you start by reading our statement?
Sure. Following the governor's restrictions on public meetings, this meeting of the Shutesbury Conservation Commission is being held virtually using zoom.com for remote participation only. The public may access it following the instructions in this meeting's agenda posted on the town website.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so I don't think we got as far as approving our minutes from 8/13 last time before all of our technical problems. Is that right, Linda?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So has the commission had a chance to read the meeting notes from 8/13 and 8/27?
Yes.
Yes.
If people are okay with them, can someone make a motion to accept them as presented?
Yep, Liam Cregan makes a motion to accept the minutes from 8/13 and 8/27 as presented.
Robin Harrington, I second that motion to approve both of them.
Okay, so can everyone state their name and vote to accept?
Robin Harrington, aye.
Liam Cregan, aye.
Penny Jakes, aye. Okay, so I think we got as far as our introduction of our new land use clerk, Tessa, last week. And unfortunately, Tessa's not here this week. So we will see her at our meeting next week. And I see Miriam there. Hi, Miriam. Are there any other people who are here because they've expressed interest in the commission?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
No, Mary David did say she was intending to attend.
Is Kevin Ross one of them? I'm gonna let Kevin in now.
He's with
He's with Niche, yes.
He's with Niche.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess I won't say anything specifically about commission membership today, except Miriam, we're happy to see you there. And I hope you continue to show up. Typically, we ask for people to attend 3 meetings before we, just to make sure we feel comfortable, although it's really strange and hard to do this in this format that we're doing, and also to make sure potential members have some sense of what we do and have continued interest as time goes on. So, you know, we're looking for people who can come to meetings, go to site visits, and hopefully take some small piece of what we do on a regular basis and make it their own so that the commission can work smoothly. Okay, so that's that. So next item on our agenda is the Southbrook Conservation Area. And I have to say, I know I need to be moving forward on that, but with everything else that's going on, I just have not had time to make any progress. And I don't know, Robin or Liam, if either of you would be interested in working with Kayla. What she was asked to do was create a trail map for the site, something that we could print and publish and put online. And honestly, I've just been dropping the ball on that. I know she's done a fair amount of work and she's run into some roadblocks, but it'd be great to have that move forward. So think about that.
I'll think about it. I don't really know what it would entail on my part. So I'll try to catch up with you at some
Well,
point.
if you haven't walked the site, it would be great to see what she's done so far and see if you can find your way around on the trails. That would be a great beginning, but we can talk about that more. I feel bad that I've not followed through on that.
Okay.
Next news item or new item is the lake lowering MOU. And I did meet with Mark Rivers and our dam keeper, Howard Kinder, I guess it was 2 or so weeks ago. And I think we hammered out the last few remaining issues on the MOU. I think everyone feels comfortable with it now. Mark Rivers was going to collate all the changes, which were relatively minor, and put them into a revised document and send it around. And I'll share it with everyone on the commission, and then hopefully we'll get it signed. The goal is to have this taken care of before the lake lowering, which would be sometime in late October. So we still have a little bit of time. And then, I don't know if anyone has any questions about that. I did persuade Howard to try to lower it 2 inches a day rather than 3.
That was going to be my question.
Yeah. So
just because he seemed pretty adamant that it wasn't very doable for him when we met in person.
Right. Well, what Mark and I said to him was, we're looking at this as a goal. It doesn't need to be precise. And, you know, if it rains or, you know, if conditions are challenging, what we're looking for is best effort here. So he seemed comfortable with that in the end.
Great.
Okay. And Shutesbury Highway Department annual project list, site visit follow-up. So, Robin, do you have the site visit forms handy?
Yes, hold on just one second. They were right here because we just did this. There we go.
So can you quickly talk about the site visit to Baker / Pelham Hill and then also Montague?
Okay, so we actually combined into one site visit summary because all the work going on, this was a paving project, and it was going on pretty much at the intersection of Baker and Pelham, going a little way down Baker and down Pelham Hill Road to the Pelham town line. And so on Baker Road, they wanted to remove an old chip seal that they had there. And so we were physically there, and he showed us and what they wanted to do, take that out and regrade it and just repave it, just the area that had been paved earlier. And then the section of Pelham Hill Road down to the Pelham line, starting at Baker Road, going down to the Pelham line, all they want to do is just add another layer of paving. And so for our recommendations, we said that at this meeting, we were going to discuss the Baker Road little portion of it and try to decide if an RDA is required. But for the Pelham Hill Road project, just going from Baker down the Pelham line, we said all they're doing is adding a layer. They're not changing the footprint or anything. So we felt it didn't require any more consideration from us because they weren't doing anything differently than they did in the past. Does that make sense, Penny? Because you were there?
That makes sense. And I guess, Liam and Robin, the question is, because there is a little sort of stream crossing, and I don't have the wetlands map. Does anyone have that?
I would have to pull it up.
I know of the pond on Baker Road that's not far from there. Does the stream wetland flow into that pond?
You have it in your email if you can find it.
Right.
Okay.
I was just looking through there. I have so many messages. Okay, here, this must be it. Here it is.
Found it.
Found it.
So yeah, I see the pond I was thinking of in a wetland to the south of the road as well and west of the pond.
Right, I see it too. So I think for that one he needs to file a request, only because they're excavating and regrading the road a little bit, and it has such close proximity to the pond and the little wetland stream, just to the stream, I guess, exits the pond and then goes across to a wetland to the north.
Okay. Oh yeah, I see now. And how close to that would they be doing the work?
Well, it appeared to me that the culvert was right. Not the pond is a little further than it looks there, but certainly not more than 25 feet or so. And the stream, it was hard to tell because the vegetation obscured it so.
Right.
But if it's on the map, I'm presuming this is a perennial stream. Is that correct, Linda?
Pardon?
Or is that not?
I can't say for sure. You know, I've looked at it so many times over the years. It's pretty much always wet there.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a fairly straightforward request. But I think what it would allow us to do is to ask, just make sure there was some silt fence put down in the places it's necessary, and
Right.
just clarify where the material that's going to be removed goes. And anyway, that's my thought.
I agree with you.
Yeah, that sounds good to me too. I obviously wasn't on the site visit, but it's definitely close to that pond and wetland.
Yep. Okay. So I guess Linda, can we leave it to you to ask Tim to file a request? Or would you rather not?
No, I next week I can follow up with Tim.
Oh, of course. Yep.
Yeah.
And then the money.
And then I'll turn it over to Tessa. I'll get him started.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds good. It'll be good for her to interact with Tim.
Yeah.
With your help
Yes.
to get her started on doing those sort of things.
Yeah.
And then Robin, Montague Road.
Okay, just
Basically,
Yeah, I would like to say it's about to be 7:15.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No, I'm glad. I totally forgot about that. The time.
Oh, okay. 1 minute. Well, this one should be quick.
So should I go?
Well, I mean,
Now
I
it's
think all we
7:15.
need to say was we didn't find any work that was jurisdictional in the project on Montague Road. It's replacement of 2 culverts under 2 driveways. So I think that that's sufficient.
I agree. That was our recommendation.
Okay, so it's 7:15. We will open the continued public meeting for the RDA at 138 Locks Pond Road. Hello, Ayers. Thanks for coming back again. Oh, Ayers, can you unmute yourself?
You're all set, Ayers. I did it.
Okay, great.
I'll just say for the record that all the abutter notification, filing fee, and legal notice are all in order.
Okay. And Ayers, thank you for the revisions on your map. I think it makes the whole project much clearer to all of us.
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
So thank you for that. I just need to get to my version of that. Does anyone on the commission have questions? Maybe Liam, could you, do you have the revised document handy?
Yeah, I do.
Could you screen
post
share
it
that
up.
so we can all see it? Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Can
everyone see what they need to see right now?
No, I think that's good. So you can see the outline of the wetland here. You can see where the proposed silt fence is and where the proposed driveway location is, and the measurement from the wetland to the driveway is 26 feet. So, that's about as close as we like to see things, so that's good. And, I think if this is conditioned, it should go pretty smoothly. Does anyone have any questions or concerns?
I was just curious about the silt barrier and how far it would extend. Would it keep going further than it's drawn here?
Well, it certainly can go as far as you think it needs to. The actual little finger of wetlands is about 7 feet from east to west. And so I drew something I thought would be about 30 feet, for whatever, 40 feet, whatever you want.
Okay. Yeah, so it's there's this finger of wetland that's close to the road, and that's
just
really the
inside
spot
brick
that's really
wall.
close.
Yeah, just
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, then that was just my only clarifying question.
No, I think I agree with Liam that having that extended another it looks like the driveway is veering off a little bit to the northwest.
Yes, it is. Actually, it's going to be come through the stone wall itself at very close to 90 degrees, but it's going to swing just because that up where the word driveway is, the proposed driveway, the Y there, it's going to do a little tiny bit of an S going up the hill towards the place where it says to proposed driveway.
Okay.
Not nearly that far. That's about 800 feet, the Y and to proposed driveway from the street.
Okay. So I agree. I think I agree with Liam that it would be great to extend the silt barrier a little bit further.
Sure,
maybe,
whatever you want.
Maybe
40,
a total of
50
50 feet or so, sort of along there. How do you feel about that, Liam?
That sounds good. I think I was a little confused about the scale, and that was that silt barrier looked really tiny. But when you say that, you know, this Y here is 800 feet from the street, I'm a little less worried.
And if just to the left of, or I should say, just below the head of the arrow that says silt barrier, you can see that little jog there is 100 feet.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I see. Okay. So maybe we can agree that the silt barrier will be a total of 50 feet in length.
Okay, sure.
And I think that should protect the wetland during the construction process.
Yeah, and any movement of machines that are working on, yeah, good.
Yeah, and yes, right. It's also a good visual for a limit of work, so none of the equipment goes any closer to the wetland than that silt barrier.
Right. Now, what is the recommend? Are you recommending how? Is there a distance that it has to be from the wetlands, or can I split the difference, or what's the regulation there?
Well, it's always the further the better, always, but you know, situations sometimes don't allow that. It looks like you are, I'm looking at your, you know, I think as long as you were 25 feet from the wetland.
Okay, yeah.
I am comfortable with that.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah, for the driveway.
If it was a steep grade or, you know, other confounding circumstances, I might feel differently, but it's fairly, there's not much slope there.
No, right. Actually, I was trying to determine the proper location of the silt barrier. Halfway between the driveway and the wetlands, or closer to which?
I would like to see the silt fence at least 20 feet from the wetland.
Okay, sure.
So that should give you enough work to get the driveway in without interfering with equipment or the project.
Right.
Robin, Liam, any other questions? No?
Nope.
Okay, are we all in agreement on this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. So you want to take a roll call vote to close the public meeting and issue a determination under the bylaw?
Okay, I will make a motion that we close this public meeting at 7:23 and that we issue a determination of applicability based on our town wetlands bylaw.
Liam Cregan seconds that.
All in favor, please state your name and say aye.
Robin Harrington, aye.
Liam Cregan, aye.
Penny Jakes, aye. So the meeting is closed, and heirs, we hope to get your order out tonight.
Good, thank you.
We'll see how long the meeting goes.
Yeah, and
Okay.
if the commissioners are able to write the determination tonight, I will have a paper copy ready for you on Tuesday. It's a long weekend, so
Yeah,
I'll let you know when it's ready so that you'll be able to pick it up at Town Hall.
very good, wonderful.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good night.
Okay, this is where I leave. Okay.
Well, you're you know, it's a
If you'd
public
like.
meeting. You're welcome to stick around, but you're also welcome to leave if you like.
Okay, well, I think I'll bow out. Thank you all very much, and thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so we have time to do a little quick progress on our new items and updates list. Top of the Lake Conservation Area. Did we talk about that at all last week?
No, we haven't spoken about that well, not since the last meeting. Yep.
Okay. Okay, so I'm trying, it's all a bit of a blur now, but I believe since the last meeting,
Yes, it was going to be the, the survey was going to take place.
right. So, so a surveyor has reestablished the boundary line between the Top of the Lake Conservation Area and Mr. Carey's property. So we are ready to install a fence. I have gotten quotes for fences from 2 companies. It seems like everyone wants a fence this summer or this fall because neither of them are willing to schedule an installation. So I'm looking for someone else who can do the installation. If anyone knows anyone, let me know their names. And I think we did discuss last week that large stones had been placed along the property boundary of the Top of the Lake Conservation Area and Merrill Road. So no further parking can happen there. And follow-up strategies. Well, I think that will include a conversation with the Conservation Commission, our police staff, and our town administrator, and Mr. Carey before we do very much more work there. So I don't know if anyone has any thoughts on that. Okay. Status of ANRAD applications and public hearing plans. I don't know, Linda, have you heard from Maria?
No, excuse me. I have not had any communication or received any further communication since last week when I reached out prior to our meeting last week to check on the status of the Pratt Corner West ANRAD and received a request to continue the public hearing.
With no further information.
No further information.
Wow.
And I did follow up after last week to let Maria Furstenberg of TRC know that that the meeting had to stop, and that we would be, you know, all the items were scheduled for tonight.
Okay. Okay. Okay, well, I guess we will just hang tight until we get more information. It seems very peculiar to me that this has come to a standstill, but we'll see.
I'm guessing that it has to do with the determination from the planning board.
Well, I'm guessing it
about
does
the subdivision.
too, but yeah, I mean, and that's my speculation as well, but it's just, you know, we were moving forward really fast with getting all the things squared away that we needed to be able to move forward with what we need to work on this, and then things just seem to slow down. But okay, well, we have 1 minute till it's time to continue the Pratt Corner West project. So I'm going to hang tight for just a minute here. Tick, tick, tick. Okay, it is 7:30, so I am going to open the continuation of the public hearing for ANRAD at CW-6, Pratt Corner Road West. And per the request of the applicant, this public hearing will be continued. And I think we all agreed that we would space these out to one ANRAD per Conservation Commission meeting, which would put this one being continued to October 22nd at 7:30 p.m. And now all four ANRADs have been spaced out to one ANRAD per meeting, with the next one being the Pratt Corner Road East one on September 10th.
Yep.
And just as a reminder, we did make a requirement of the applicant that, or of the consultant, that all the information that we needed to be to us a week before the meeting, so we had time to assimilate it. So,
yes.
So we'll vote on that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I move that we continue the Pratt Corner West ANRAD to October 22nd at 7:30. May I have a second?
I second the motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Liam Cregan, aye.
Robin Harrington, aye.
Penny Jakes, aye. Okay. So I'm looking down our list because we've got a little while before we can discuss the Sawmill River Culvert NOI.
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
During the interim when I'm not actually on the Concom, can I be put on the list to get some of these documents when they're made available so I can?
They're all being posted on the Concom website, so you can get them from there.
Okay.
We're posting all the information for all the notices, all the requests,
Okay.
any relevant documents so that anyone who's interested can find those.
Okay, great.
And what we have posted for the ANREDs right now are still the original documents that were provided to us in, I guess it was January.
Yeah.
Because we're still doing the back and forth between the consultant, the wetlands consultant from Coles and our peer review wetland consultant until this all gets sorted out. And once they're all sorted out and both our consultant and their consultant agree on wetland boundaries, then the final maps and document will be posted.
Is there an initial report from Stockman Associates, or it was just an informal?
There was like a 2-page report that we didn't post that because it was really a working document, and it was essentially a charge to the applicant to go back and do further work. And in all cases except, and I keep getting the 2 on Pratt Corner Road mixed up, but 3 of the 4 projects have greatly expanded wetlands based on the further review that we've been going through.
Okay.
So we could talk about the 25 Lakeview Road proposed tree cutting by Cheryl. It's Cheryl, right? Cheryl Hagan?
Cheryl Hayden, yes.
Cheryl
Hayden. Did people have a chance to look at her message and her map?
I took a brief look at it. I'm going to look at it again right now, though, just to orient myself.
Okay, if you I looked at it as well, but if you come across it sooner than I do, can you post that, please?
Yeah, I just found it.
Okay.
So I'll share my screen.
Thank you.
So the road, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. Yeah, it's just the picture of the house. So.
Okay, and there were no houses on the road side of the house? I thought there were 1 or 2.
Other structures, you mean?
Trees that were going to come down.
On the road side of the house.
Right. Maybe not. Actually,
I can't remember.
Yeah,
but maybe
actually, as I'm thinking, the road side of the house is outside the buffer zone. So, so the trees on the river side of the house are all the ones that we would want to weigh in on. And I think as long as she cuts the trees and leaves the stumps in place and removes the debris at least 100 feet from the river, she can proceed with a letter. I don't know how you 2 feel about that.
It's fine with me. I'm not really experienced in these matters yet. So I guess I'm operating on your expertise here.
I'm doing the same.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if she wanted to pull out the stumps, it would be a more potentially invasive project. But if she's just cutting the trees off flush at the ground and then removing the trunk and the debris, there'll be no disturbance of the soil. So there should be no impact to the stream or the buffer zone.
Right, I agree with that. And we actually have been on a couple of site visits where even if we were looking at something else, we saw where they recently took out a tree and they left the stump and there was no disturbance around it.
So I'm fine, and I'm wondering, Linda, is Tessa back next week?
She will be back on Tuesday. And I don't actually know her availability. I do know that she has a morning teleconference with Chuck Damari. I know that much per Chuck. So I'm hoping to connect with her in the afternoon and set up a a plan to Zoom and go over things and bring her up to date on where things are at, especially in preparation for Thursday.
Okay, and well, perhaps the two of you could work on getting a letter out.
So
do you think that's feasible?
I think it's feasible. I don't know again what her availability is. I don't know what her, with her job in Leverett, I'm not sure where, I need to check in with her. So
okay.
if we can do it together, that will be great. Otherwise, if you're okay, I will do it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
So Robin and Liam, can you give us a bylaw update, revision update? More? Sorry.
No, just a second. I just need 1 minute to finish something. Okay, I'm ready.
So Robin, Linda, and I have been meeting about every other week for maybe 2 months now to just take a look at this 2011 draft of a bylaw, a new wetlands bylaw that never made it to town meeting. So we've been working from that document, and we made some revisions to the resource area, among other things, and we're ready to share it with the commission. So we can send you the document after the meeting, or I can send you the document after the meeting.
Great. Okay, Bakerfield CR, Kestrel Trust monitoring visit. Linda, as our CR point person, can you say a few things about that?
I can only tell you hang on for 1 second. This is my trick of taking minutes. So you all received the monitoring report from Paul Gagnon from Kestrel Trust, who I understand when I responded to him to acknowledge receipt that he is no longer there. And this is a very brief monitoring report. It's not the usual report, which is a separate document, that there's basically a format that's usually followed for a monitoring visit report. And there's usually a map drawn of the path taken by the person doing the visit. And so this report is minimal. At least that's my assessment based on what we've previously received from Kestrel Trust and what Charlie Eisman does for the Commission for Sumner Mountain and what we do for our Old Peach Orchard CR monitoring. So that's my observation of the report.
Liam, so it sounds like you are working with some CR monitoring for
Most
Kestrel.
of my work is going to be on properties that Kestrel owns.
I see.
So, and it sounds like I heard that, well, from this email first, and then I talked to Chris Vellante about it a bit too, that Paul Gagnon is not at Kestrel anymore. And they're interested in getting or re-accessing this big volunteer CR monitoring base they had before Paul worked for Kestrel. So I think that's kind of where they're at now, is trying to reharness some of that public interest in volunteering to monitor. But I'm not sure exactly if I'm going to be doing any CR monitoring yet.
Would you be willing to inquire as to whether there's a more official monitoring report for this site visit?
Yeah, I'll make a note of it and bring it up to
usually
Chris.
we get, a full a letter and a letter that goes to the property owner and a copy of the full monitoring visit, but it would just be good to see that. The email that we got seemed very succinct.
Yeah, my guess is that Chris doesn't know a lot about this visit, but I'll definitely just bring it up.
Okay, thank you. So we still have a few minutes. Do we want to issue the determination, or do we want to wait and do that after the 8 o'clock Sawmill River culvert?
You could, well, let's see, we don't have any further follow-up on the Pine Drive Lake Oil Association. Russ, I know that Russ reached out to Donna West, about the tree stump that was maybe, I guess, 3 weeks ago meeting. Robin, you'll remember that the tree that had come down, the big stump that is on Lake Wyola Association property. I know that Russ did reach out to Donna West and left her a phone message about it. So that's all we know.
Okay. We can talk about a site visit schedule.
Okay.
So as you can see from our list, we have 1, 2, 3, 4.
Actually, there's just 3. The fourth one, Penny, I'm sorry to interrupt, but the fourth one I put there so that you could give me the okay to just make a note on the building permit that the commission doesn't need to sign off.
Okay, well, let's dispense with that. That must be 70 Shore Drive, Tarati.
Yes.
It's a building permit to replace, add to a deck. And they're using no dig pier, so there'll be no disturbance of earth there. So there's no reason for us to have any input. And I recommend that Linda sign off on the electronic building permit. And then the other 3 are, they're all building permit applications. One is, and one is a certificate of compliance. So one is a project on Locks Pond Road where a large parcel of land was essentially, it went through the open space design plan with the planning board, and a significant portion of the land was put into a conservation restriction, which is held by, is it Franklin Land Trust, I think?
Yes, it is. Yep.
And there's an existing house on the property and a new
there's no house.
No. I'm just talking about the property overall. So on this,
Penny, no. This is lot D18. This is not 174 Locks Pond.
I know that.
Separate parcel.
I know that.
All together. Okay.
Right. I was just giving the history for the project.
Okay, got it. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've been out. Various iterations of the commission have been out there a number of times because there is a long woods road that goes deep into the property. There were some wetlands crossings that were installed on that, in part because the original house lot already has a driveway on Locks Pond Road, and there's a new building site interior to that. that would be accessed by the road where the wetland crossings were. And it's a complicated situation. There was an enforcement order involved in this. DEP was involved. And anyway, I'm hoping all of this is finally reconciled and that we can sign off on a certificate of compliance for the road. And at the same time, for the new building site that's been carved out, which is on lot D18, there's a building permit application in the hopper for a shed and a barn.
Right.
So it's a little more complicated site visit than many.
Right, and the certificate of compliance is for lot D18 only.
How can that be?
It's the Woods Road, Penny, which is lot D18.
It's part of D18. Is
Yes.
D18 different than
174? Yes, two separate parcels. 174 is the
but the
that
lot?
was the one with the superseding order of conditions under DEP.
Right.
Yep.
But the Woods Road initiates on the property associated with the house lot.
No.
Well, it comes off Locks Pond. So that's.
It does, but it's a separate parcel.
Oh, okay. I guess I don't have the map in front of me.
Yeah, it's a separate, yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why it's called lot D18 and to differentiate it from 174. And it's lot D18, you know, until there's a house on it, it will stay that way. It'll get a house number when there's actually a house there.
Okay, well, thanks for the clarification. It's
Yep.
been years since I've been out there.
I know.
And years since I've looked at the map.
Because I knew I refreshed myself.
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So there's that site visit. There's one near the center of town for a building permit for a tractor barn. And according to Linda, the sonotubes have already been installed. So this is sort of an after the fact visit.
Yes.
And then there's a site visit at 80 Shore Drive for a building permit for a new garage. So,
right. So you'll have those three, and then separately, when you are talking about the Sawmill River Culvert, you'll be setting up a site visit, separate, discrete site visit for there.
So is there, I'm just trying to figure out how to proceed with this because I guess we need 2 chunks of time next week when we can do site visits. Is there some urgency for the 3 that I just described?
I would say that yes, I mean, they all, you know, they'll, the Rogers and it of course is already in progress, but they've stopped work and they're waiting. And Mr. Oshevsky, of course, is waiting, and you know, would like. He's been the longest in the queue, I should say.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
I know we were discussing this prior to the meeting, but if we're looking at 2 distinct days for site visits next week, I would I think it would be ideal for me if we could do Sunday for these 3 that we're discussing now. And I'm going to receive an email from Chris about my training schedule with Kestrel tomorrow for next week. So I should be able to know my availability with regard to a site visit for the culvert by tomorrow. I just wanted to bring up that idea of potentially doing those 3 on this Sunday, if it's possible.
I just have to say I'm off tomorrow, so I can't arrange.
You can't set them up for Sunday.
I can't set them up and set you up with all the materials that you would need. I'm sorry, Liam.
It's okay.
You know.
Could we do them? I've got to look at a calendar. the following Sunday? Or alternatively,
Yeah.
Robin and I could do these three. And then Liam, I think it's really important for you to be part of the one for the Sawmill River culvert.
Yeah, I really want to be there
Mm-hmm.
for that one, and ideally these ones too. Things are just a little up in the air for me right now.
Right, I certainly understand that. Robin, what is your weekend like?
My only plan is to meet a friend at the Creamy on Saturday afternoon. Other than that, I'm totally free.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't arrange them for the weekend. So
You can't arrange them
Right.
for the following weekend?
Oh, the following weekend. Yes, of course. I'm so sorry. I skipped
Or,
it.
okay.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I don't have
Oh, of
anything
course.
planned for that weekend.
Yep, of course I can. Yep.
Would Sunday the 13th work for you both?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it works for me. And apologies for my schedule beginning to get
That's
hectic
okay.
again.
That's fine.
This has often been the case. As I said to you before, when the rest of us all worked, it was always challenging. So,
So do you want to say a time on the 13th so I can let folks know next week?
is 11 a.m. okay?
And do you want to meet? Do you want to meet in the front of Town Hall, and then you can go down to Cooleyville Road and then head down to Locks Pond and Shore Drive?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
So I know we can't open the public meeting for the Sawmill River culvert yet, but I'm wondering if we can set a site visit for it before 8 o'clock. Linda, do you see a reason why we can't do that?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I'd be happy to talk about that if you need to.
Yeah, so so the crew that's here representing the Sawmill River project, do you have a time or a day in mind? I'm guessing you would like to do it prior to next Thursday's meeting.
Ideally, yeah, if it helps close the hearing by, the next meeting, if nothing big changes, then that would probably be preferred by us.
Well, I know we would love to, hear your overview on this prior to the site visit, but once we've heard
Sure.
that, I think we want to move ahead and try and schedule that.
Sure, absolutely. I am. I'm certainly free next week if that's the goal to get it done. I think the only day that may not work for me is Thursday, but other than that, I am open, unless you have some other preferences.
And Liam, you're still waiting to hear your work schedule next week, correct?
Yeah, I should hear tomorrow.
And you don't have a sense at this point whether mornings or afternoons might slot in better?
No, this week has been kind of all on Zoom and multi-organizational, so I need to get a sense of the rhythm of Kestrel, and that will start, I would assume, with this email tomorrow.
Okay. So maybe what we need to do is wait to hear from Liam, because I think it's key for all of us to be at the site visit.
I agree.
Okay.
My schedule is a little bumpy next week. I have a commitment much of Wednesday. And Thursday morning until 10 or so. And we won't discuss doing it on Labor Day. So why don't we come up with a couple of times, and then maybe, or wait, I guess we should just wait and see what Liam can do first, because
Sure,
he's
sure.
the limiting factor here. So we will probably get back to you on Tuesday of next week and propose a date or two and hopefully find something that work. And you said Thursday?
Thursday afternoon is probably the only day that doesn't work for me. I think everything else is, I have free or meetings that I can move or reschedule to make time for this.
And will there be more than one representative for the site visit?
I'll definitely be there for sure. Jen, I don't know if you were planning to make the trip all the way out there. I know you're coming from a lot further away, and we can certainly connect with you via virtual means if you didn't, but it's up to you. Maybe it'll be your availability when we do decide to do a site visit.
That sounds good. Why don't you keep me posted on the schedule and we can talk, Matt?
Absolutely, sure.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for the flexibility on this.
No problem.
Okay, so I'm just going to quietly wait until it's 8 o'clock now. Okay, it is 8 o'clock. I will open the public meeting for a notice of intent at the Sawmill River Culvert, Locks Pond Road in the town of Shutesbury. And Matthew, are you going to be the person leading the charge tonight on this? I'd
Yeah,
like
sure,
to start
absolutely.
with a presentation from your end.
Sure. If you actually, if we could give control to Jen Johnson, I believe she has all of the documents on her end, so she should be able to share her screen.
Yes.
Yeah, you should be able to now, Jen.
All right, so I just shared my screen, so bear with us. We do have a number of visuals that we want to share with you, so I'll do my best.
Great. Thanks, Jen. All right, so, well, thank you first, everyone, for your time tonight, and thanks for hosting this interim meeting in between the other meetings to fit us in. We appreciate that. But I just wanted to give, sorry, I'm Matt Skawitz with Niche Engineering. I'm the structural engineer that's mainly been working on this project. I did much of the design for the structure and the culvert replacement. Jen Johnson is also with Niche. She did the hydraulic analysis for this project. Helped us choose a culvert size and optimize that. And also Kevin Ross is with us. He prepared most of the NOI, and he'll help fill us in with some of the wetland topics that we'll be discussing tonight. Oh, and I think Lisa Brothers joined. She's our CEO. I'm sure she's here to just support the project, which is great. But I just wanted to give a quick overview of the project before I hand it off to Jen and Kevin to discuss more of the wetland impacts. But as you know, this is a culvert replacement over the Sawmill River on Locks Pond Road in Shutesbury. First and foremost, this project is a public safety project. It's an infrastructure maintenance project. We really as Becky has told us many times, the town administrator, this is a critical project for the town, and she's very excited to see this progress. But MassDOT saw your need, the town's need for this replacement, and they granted the town $500,000 as part of the small bridge program for this project to get it done. So it really is, it's an important project, but it's also been a very collaborative project, which is sometimes rare for these critical projects. They just want to see something done. We've worked with Becky very closely this entire process. We've talked to the fire department and the highway department to get their input on these projects. We've had a public information meeting to get information mostly from the homeowners around the lake. We've worked with MassDOT. Obviously, they have their input since they're funding a large part of this project. So it's been a really good project, really collaborative. We've gotten a lot of feedback, and we're trying to take as much feedback into account as we can. But generally, this project is about a 10,000 square foot area on Locks Pond Road, right above the Sawmill River, which is adjacent to the Lake Wyola Dam. The culvert serves as the flow from the outlet of the dam. Locks Pond Road is classified by MassDOT as a rural major collector. It runs approximately 4 miles from north to south through the project area. The project site is, like I said, immediately downstream of the dam. It is the only outlet of the dam that I'm aware of. I don't know, Jen, if that's right or not, but
That's right.
okay. So it is critical for that. We want to make sure that the infrastructure is maintained and capable of carrying all of that output. Obviously, it's we've seen in major storm events in the past how backed up that can get. So we just want to make sure that it's operating fully and functionally as best as possible. Okay, so here's Jen showing some existing conditions of the project site now. The existing culvert is a 10-foot diameter corrugated metal steel culvert. The bottom of the culvert has severe corrosion, a lot of section loss. You can see a lot of fill between, and in the areas where it is the loss of steel, there's voids created beneath the culvert where a lot of fill material is just draining out, which is causing some settlement around the culvert, above the culvert. The roadway is, developing sinkholes and whatnot. Additionally, downstream of the culvert, there is some pretty significant scour in the banks, just due to the velocity of the water through the culvert during major storm events. And I believe, yeah, there you go. Jen has some pictures of that where really the banks and a lot of the trees are really the only thing holding up some of those banks together, but it's continuing to really scour the outlet. So that was part of the goal with this project, was to stabilize that side, so to prevent future scour. So the new culvert, what we're proposing to replace is a concrete box culvert. It's 9 feet tall by 10 feet wide. Like I said, the existing culvert is 10 feet in diameter now, so it's approximately the same size, same footprint at least. The bottom 2 feet of the proposed culvert will be embedded in the stream, so the bottom of the culvert will be a natural stream bed. So essentially the total opening will be 10 feet by 7 feet. In doing this, we provide a natural stream bed, and it also reduces the velocity through the culvert, so we don't have such a smooth culvert that the velocity of the water just flushes everything out. And then after the culvert is replaced, including new wing walls, there'll be new concrete wing walls, and those concrete wing walls will help stabilize a lot of the banks, so we hopefully get less erosion and lessens the grade of those embankments. The embankments there right now are quite steep and quite close to the road. So adding the wing walls will help reduce that and make it a little bit more safe. But the roadway will then be replaced, reconstructed over the proposed culvert. Essentially the same alignment for the roadway, no changes to the roadway, same width, and then we'll put back the guardrails as it is, so there's really no change to the impervious cover in the project. So that is our brief overview of the project, and I will I'll hand it over to Jen and Kevin so they can talk about some of the wetland impacts and how the project affects.
Can I, this is Penny.
Sure.
Is there a reason you didn't consider an open you know, a bottomless culvert here rather than an embedded box culvert?
Yeah, so a couple of reasons. I'll talk about it structurally and with cost benefits. I don't know if Jen has other inputs that she wants to add. But generally, a full box culvert is a lot quicker to construct and a lot less expensive because it is quicker to construct. They can be one single precast unit that's just excavated, the bottom's prepared, dropped in place, and we reduce the amount of time that the opening is disturbed, to the roadway is disturbed, to the less time that we have to do a detour, quicker construction, cheaper construction. And it's also a better structure. It's a bit more rigid structure, so the size of the culvert can be a little thinner, less reinforcement, again, just to make this the most efficient and practical for the town. Because even though MassDOT is providing a lot of money for this, you know, we're still working with the town to make this as, you know, efficient as possible.
Okay.
Because we were embedding it 2 feet into the bottom and creating a natural stream bed, I don't know if we saw a huge benefit over from what would have been a three-sided culvert. But I think Jen could probably say more about that if you have anything to add, Jen.
No, Matt, I mean, I think you did a good job describing the process that we went through. And I mean, we did evaluate a number of different alternatives in terms of the hydraulic structure. The 3-sided box culvert and the embedded 4-sided box culvert both function the same way in terms of carrying capacity. And we felt that since we were able to recreate the stream bed within the 4-sided box culvert while trying to keep the construction costs and impacts down, that this was a good way to balance the goals of the project. So that's why we landed on that, that decision.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Matt and Jen. I'm going to talk a little bit about the resource areas that are within this project limit and the mitigation that we're doing, as well as a little bit into the design of the stream crossing. So as Matt said, the project site's directly downstream of the Lake Wyola Dam, and it contains 4 wetland resource areas bordering vegetated wetland, bank, land under waterways, and riverfront area. The project was designed to limit disturbance in the resource areas to the maximum extent possible we're trying to work within the footprint of the existing road, bridge, culvert, and the scour areas. But due to the proximity of the project site to the wetland system, some of the proposed work will occur in those resource areas I mentioned. However, overall, the project provides a net benefit through the creation of a stream bed within the proposed culvert that results in new bank and land under waterways, which while stabilizing the scoured downstream area. I'll now go into each resource area and what sort of the impacts are. So for BVW, there's very minor work proposed here. It's, as Jen can show you here, it's mainly just this small area that we'll need to touch just to remove this existing wing wall that's there. And we're hoping that this can be mitigated by the work being done by hand with that instead of a machine during construction, and the impact should be temporary. It should be easy to restore that area that's affected. And I think we just conservatively put about 25 square feet there, but it could actually be smaller than that.
So that's the area of wetland that's being lost in the project.
Theoretically, I mean, I think that we could be able to restore it too and limit the
so the work is specifically related to the removal of the existing stone wing wall. You can see that the wetland line kind of butts up right against the wing wall. You can see my mouse pointing there. So to remove that, we thought that there may be some temporary impacts within the wetland, but it's right there on the line. And I thought maybe this is something we could look at in the field. You'll get a better sense for it.
Okay, yeah, when I looked at all the documentation, I was trying to figure out where the 25-foot loss was located. So thanks for showing me that.
Yep. You're welcome.
Okay, so then for bank, most of the impacts to the bank are from the installation of the riprap scour protection immediately downstream and from the installation of the culvert. The proposed culvert replacement creates a new stream bed within the culvert by filling with 24 inches of stream substrate material. The proposed work should have no adverse effects on the stability of the bank and should actually improve the water quality and carrying capacity of the existing channel. And we estimated the project will impact roughly 109 linear feet of bank, which should all be restored, if not added by the end of the project. For land under waterways, from the replacement, this is mainly from the replacement of the existing culvert and again from the riprap installation. The total area of impact to the land under waterways is roughly 1,110 square feet. However, the proposed culvert replacement creates a new stream bed within the culvert by filling with those same 2 feet of substrate material. And this would add approximately 780 square feet of land under waterway within the culvert. The new riprap blanket will restore and enhance the function of the land under waterway by protecting against scour and should result in an improved connection between the BBW areas on either side of the bridge. And then lastly, for riverfront area, it wasn't practicable to site the project entirely outside of the riverfront area because this is a stream crossing and by nature, it's all going to be riverfront area. The project was designed to limit the increase in the amount of degraded area and scour within the riverfront area to the maximum extent practicable, particularly within the inner 100 feet. We considered a no-build alternative, but it was not feasible due to the deteriorated existing culvert and the scour present immediately downstream. And so renovation of the existing cross-section was deemed to be the preferred alternative. Does anyone have any questions on those impact areas before I move on to the proposed mitigation?
Not at this point.
So for proposed mitigation, with the scour protection, we proposed a riprap blanket just downstream of the culvert to help protect against scour. As we saw with those photos that Jen showed earlier, there is existing scour in the current condition. And then the existing 10-foot diameter metal culvert is corroding and there's evidence of soil undermining the area around the culvert. And the proposed concrete culvert will create a more structurally sound riverbed and will provide greater flow for the existing stream to better prevent against flooding. For erosion and sedimentation controls, we're proposing erosion and sedimentation controls to reduce the construction-related impact of the proposed project on the adjacent wetland resource areas. Control measures will include minimizing land disturbance, providing temporary stabilization in covers, installing perimeter controls, and constructing temporary sediment basins. And then I'll move on to the sort of design of the culvert. So we considered the Massachusetts stream crossing standards in the design of the replacement culvert. The new culvert should improve upon most of the design standards when compared to the existing culvert. I can go sort of standard by standard on that. For the first one, for the type of crossing, a bridge is the optimum option there. It was already a bridge, so that was obviously we stuck with that. For embedment, obviously the existing one isn't embedded, and as Matt said, this one should be embedded 2 feet, which meets the standard. The crossing span, there's a slight improvement, 0.67 versus 0.57. This is still less than optimum, but with the rectangular opening and the shortened crossing and the open wing walls, this should be a net positive for that. The openness.
Can I interrupt you just for a minute? You know, I was trying to find this information in the notice in one spot, and was I missing it? I couldn't find that in there anywhere.
I don't know if we actually listed these specific design standards. Jen, was that in the hydraulic report or no?
We did go into more detail in the hydraulic report on the stream crossing standards, so it was in the appendix, and there was a brief overview of it in the notice, Penny, but that's why we want to go over it with you tonight. in a little bit more detail.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I felt pretty overwhelmed with the amount of information that was presented, and it was really hard to ferret out the things that I felt like I needed to know from all of the information that was presented. So I'll tell you right now that one of the things that I would like to request before we meet again is just sort of consolidating some of this information into one more succinct location so that I can look at it without having to go through all, I don't know how many pages you presented us with, an awful lot. So, okay.
Sure, we'd be happy to do that. And I think when we get to the end of our hearing, we'd love to hear which items specifically you'd like us to kind of bring to the front, and we can create a quick summary of that for you.
Great. Okay, sorry to interrupt.
No problem at all. So yeah, just to continue with those stream crossing standards for the openness ratio, we improved that from 1.28 to 1.59. They list 1.64 as optimum, so we're pretty close to their optimum standard there. For substrate, we're using that 24 inches of stream substrate in the embedding of the culvert, and then they recommend trying to maintain sort of a natural existing water depth and velocity, which having the embedded culvert should make that more similar to a natural case than the existing one did, since it wasn't embedded.
Okay, thank you.
So that's all I have. I don't know if Matt or Jen want to add anything, and we can open up to any questions you guys have.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine answering any questions if there are any more questions from the commission.
Yeah, hey, this is Liam Cregan. I have a question regarding where the stream substrate that will be in the culvert box, where will that be sourced from?
I think we'll be working with our contractor to properly source the material. And if there's any local sources or things that you'd like us to keep in mind, we're happy to do that. It'll be covered more clearly in the specifications, but in terms of sourcing, we'll be working with them on that.
Okay, and I guess my second question, somewhat related, when you install the riprap scour blanket, will you excavate for that, or will you just put the material over the existing stream bed?
The intent is to limit the amount of excavation as much as possible and place the material on the scour hole since it's already so pre-formed. We can look at that again when we're in the field, but you'll see it's quite deep, and the topography and the existing conditions plan really does pick that up. So we'd like to preserve as much of the root masses and the actual things that are holding up the bank as possible. So placing it on that existing surface would be preferred.
Okay, great, thank you.
And on that same topic, the riprap blanket, is that pretty much mimicking the current contours of the outflow of stream? You're not enlarging the stream at all. You're just
yeah, you're exactly right. So in the hydraulic report, I know you
I'm sorry, I tried to go through all of that and my eyes just started going in circles.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I can kind of talk you through it briefly, but so we had to look at scour for several large storm events as required by MassDOT. And when we performed those calculations, actually the numbers were pretty close to the existing scour hole, which actually makes you understand that the calculations are pretty close to the way the stream is actually functioning. So once we made that determination, we decided to work with the existing stream bed as the geography stands and modify the scour hole so that it could work within the stream channel.
Okay, thank you. Are there more things you would like to share with us? Or, I do have a couple of questions. I presume you saw Mark Stinson's comment letter, and some of the things that he mentioned were things that I was concerned about as well. in particular, I don't see any information on a dewatering plan included in the notice, and I was wondering why that was, or maybe I just didn't find it.
No, we didn't include a dewatering plan, as far as I know. Right now we haven't, I guess, created a. Yeah, so we've made considerations for where we would have site layout and staging areas, but we haven't included that dewatering plan on this. So that's something we can provide.
That'd be great.
Yep, and oftentimes we're working similar to the sourcing of the materials. We're working with the contractors on those means and methods for dewatering, and honestly, often working with you all to understand some of the conditions that you'd like to see in terms of those methods. So,
right. Because you know, we don't have culverts of a size where dewatering is a critical issue very often. So I think I've only seen 2 other notices since I've been on the commission. Neither of them were as large scale as this project, but they both included a dewatering plan. And so it's hard to condition a project when you don't know what's being proposed for the dewatering. So I would like that addressed in some fashion.
I think also an important consideration for this project, which makes it a little bit different, is that it is located so close to the dam. And we know that there's different time of year operations at the dam. Sometimes the dam is dewatered, the lake is dewatered slightly so that there's less flow over the dam. And other times we know in the summer there's kind of a consistent base flow. So when we're working with you discussing time of year restrictions, that's something we would want to consider as well. We want to be obviously working as close to dry conditions as possible.
Right, so, and I don't think it was mentioned in here when you planned on doing this. I mean, I presume during low flow conditions. I'm guessing August.
Correct. We've coordinated with Howard, who is the dam operator. I'm sure you're familiar. But we like Jen said, we want to do this in as dry as condition as possible. So any sort of water control that we need to do to redirect the stream or pump the stream around this culvert is at an absolute minimum, and the water, the soil that we'd be excavating is, you know, as dewatered as we can get it to begin with initially. So we're hoping for an August to September timeline. And we also, to prevent the flow as much as possible, we were also hoping to coordinate with Howard as well to lower the dam as reasonably as he can lower it before it begins. So if any storm events do come while we're doing this, it wouldn't impact our site as much as possible. So it would be, that August to September timeframe.
Okay.
And I think this is probably in the court of the contractor to some degree too, but one thing I was hoping to see was maybe just a basic timeline of events. You know, like this is what we're going to do at the beginning. This is when we're going to dewater. Just a basic timeline I think would be really helpful for me and other commissioners.
Sure, and you're oh, sorry, Jen. You're absolutely right. It is a lot of contractor means and methods, and we don't like to dictate that because that can often, you know, scare away some contractors or drive up the price of others. But in general,
well, I understand that, but it's hard to condition a project if we don't know what the construction plan is.
Sure. So tentatively right now, our plan is to close the culvert. We would do it in one phase, so it wouldn't be a phased construction, which essentially just means we'll place the entire culvert at once rather than doing half and keeping the roadway open. So we'd be closing the entire roadway. We would need to detour traffic entirely around, but we plan on having the detour for approximately 3 to 4 weeks. We don't anticipate it being any longer than that. Essentially what would happen is we would lower the water in the lake as much as possible to, you know, create the lowest flow we possibly can in the stream. We would do water controls as necessary to reroute the stream, whatever flow is left in the stream around the proposed site. That possibly could include diesel generators with water pumps to pump the water through a culvert, up and over the roadway. Then the next step would be to demolish the existing culvert, like Jen and Kevin said. Part of that would be with hand tools in the BVW area, but the rest would essentially use an excavator of some type to excavate above the existing corrugated culvert and the other walls. And if there's any, I don't think there's any area in the existing stream bed that needs to be excavated, but that as well. Remove the culvert, remove the wing walls, excavate any other area that needs to be to prepare the precast culvert that we'll be installing. We'll prepare the subgrade for that, place the structural backfill material, compact it, place the structural precast elements in place, place the wing walls in place, and then seal them up and backfill them. And then once those are filled, we would regrade in the area around them to bring the grade to what we show on the proposed plans that you see on the screen. And then the final step for the culvert would be to lay that riprap blanket in the existing stream bed, and then obviously to replace the roadway. So we would backfill on top of everything, create a full depth pavement structure, and then install the guardrails on either side.
Can you write that down for us?
Sure, absolutely.
And what happens to the material you're removing from the top of the culvert during construction?
So hopefully we would
some remote site.
Yes, I don't think there's much of a net loss in the culvert. I believe there are transportation folks did those calculations when they did the sections, but whatever extra is used, we would hope to use to fix some of the grading. Obviously, like I said, the embankment slopes are very steep, so we would do some grading to lessen those to prevent further erosion, obviously, and then any excess site would be trucked off the site and disposed of, properly according to all, requirements that we require and local and state laws.
Okay. So do you think you'll be able to address our concerns and Mark's concerns by next week's meeting?
Yes, we've already actually started preparing some responses so that we could talk with you about them tonight, and we're happy to put those in writing and add any additional information that you've had trouble locating in the notice of intent submittal. So right now I've got maybe a summary of the stream crossing standards. Is there anything else? Okay. I think if any additional questions come up in the meantime, or when you're on site, just let us know and we'll be prepared to address them. We can get certainly this information to you in writing as soon as possible, maybe early next week. But if anything else comes up, just let us know.
That sounds good to me.
I don't know if this happened to the rest of you, but I got booted out of the meeting for a minute there.
I think it happened to Linda.
Okay. Everybody was so quiet.
Well, no, I look, everyone was frozen, and then I couldn't hear anything. So, Jen, I may have missed part of what you said, but my apologies. I'm back. So that sounds good. We'll try to get a site visit scheduled. Linda is back in the Concom office on Tuesday, and Liam should have a sense of his availability by then. So we'll move forward as quickly as we can. I think, I'll say on behalf of the commission, we're all eager to have this take place as well. So not trying to be obstructionist and all, just trying to understand the project and how to best protect the resource area.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I don't have our schedule for next week yet, but I guess we can try to continue to next week.
Yes, this is Linda, and so for next week, you'll have at 7:30 the ANRAD for Pratt Corner Road East, anticipating that no materials have been received as of today, that will be continued. And so you could continue this one till 8 o'clock next week if you wanted, or 7:45.
What is 8 o'clock okay? And then we can try and take care of other business prior to that.
Yeah.
That works for me.
Yeah, I know I'm always really tired at the end of these intense conversations. So doing it at 8 would be good, and trying to take care of all of our other things before this would be helpful to me. So is that okay on your end?
Yeah, on
Yeah,
Mitch's
and
end,
Matt and
I don't have any problem with that, and it looks like Jen.
okay.
7:45?
8.
8, okay, sorry. Trying to do too many things at one time.
Okay, so we will formally vote to continue this till 8 o'clock next Thursday, which is the 10th, right? Yes. All in favor?
Robin Harrington, aye.
Liam Cregan, aye.
Penny Jakes, aye. Okay, so we'll see at least many of you next week at a site visit, and we'll move on from there. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last thing we need to do is prepare the determination for the new driveway.
Yes. So hold on, let me get that up for you.
Do you want to catch your breath for a minute?
Yes. I do. Let's see.
While you get ready, I'm going to quickly get something to drink. I'll be right back.
Can you see that okay, Liam?
I'm back.
Welcome back.
So Liam and Robin, I'm hoping you'll take the lead on this.
All right.
Okay. So can you see it all very well enough?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So this is as we go along. So this is just the brief project description. Location. And then on determination, so this one is going to be different because it's under the bylaw.
Mm.
So,
Okay.
so we go along here. This is under positive determination. We go along here and it says 5, the area under work described on reference plan and documents is subject to review and approval by Shutesbury under the Shutesbury General Wetlands Protection Bylaw. And we don't have a particular ordinance or citation that I'm aware of. And then 6 says the following area and or work, if any, is subject to a municipal ordinance or bylaw, but not subject to the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act.
Boy, we don't do these very often, do we?
No, no. So I don't know if you check both of those. And
that would seem to make sense to me.
So 5 and 6, and then I think this is where you would write in, you know, the work and conditions, because I want to just give you time to read all of these things. 7
but typically we issue a negative determination with commit conditions.
Right, but when you read the negative determination, and I'll just leave it there for you can tell me when you're ready, and I'll move it up. It doesn't offer a spot for local bylaw.
Interesting.
You ready? Because usually you put it in 3, but
well, in 6, you know, I find it's always a little confusing in these forms. Well, it's often confusing to sort out what goes with what. So when I'm looking at 6, it's not subject to review by Shutesbury pursuant. Okay, so that would be so is the pursuant to a municipal wetlands ordinance or bylaw part of number 6?
Yes, it is. So that, you know, remember when you look at a request, it's a multi-purpose form. So if someone asked you if the work was jurisdictional under the bylaw and it wasn't, then that would be 6.
Gotcha.
Right? But in this case, it is subject to the bylaw.
Right. It's just what's confusing to me is that typically when something has a positive determination, it gets kicked to a notice of intent.
Right.
And so this is an example of when the form doesn't really fit the situation very well.
Right. I agree. I agree.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So they need to file.
It says there.
But we also determined that Ayers doesn't need to do that, right?
No, he doesn't need to file a notice. It's a minor project that is all in the buffer zone and won't have any negative impact to the wetland or the resource area.
Mm-hmm.
As long as he does it with the few conditions that we'll put on the project. It's just
Yeah,
not
it
clear
seems like
where,
there should be another option for a
right,
negative determination with the same.
under the bylaw with conditions.
Right, but see, number 6
Right.
says, but not subject to Wetlands Protection Act.
So can we just put in there the typical conditions that we would put in if it were under the Wetlands Protection Act right here? I mean, it just seems like such an odd place.
I know, but I don't know where else to put it. Do you?
I do not.
Would it make sense to explicitly say a notice of intent is not required by the commission?
We can put that there and maybe down in, but we're still issuing conditions.
I mean, can you list, it says the following area work of any is subject to a bylaw, but not to the, so you would put the installation of a curb cut on lot 1. And then could you put conditions under number 3 on negative?
Yeah.
That sounds like the line of best fit to me.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if I can type on it, it will be good.
You can't put anything in that box?
Goes.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But I would put, but I would put, I think I might add something there.
Okay.
I think I might add what Liam noted, which is we're not requiring a notice of intent. The project.
Oops. Sorry. Can't type when there's an audience. Oh gosh, sorry.
But then we can say, but conditions for the work are listed under the regular spot where we put them. I can't remember the number.
Number 3.
Number 3 in section B, or section, I can't see it.
Okay.
I think that's the best we can do.
Okay, ready.
Okay, so one thing we discussed with Ayers was that erosion control will be greater than 20 feet from wetland.
The nearest wetland flag.
Yeah, that sounds good. and extend 50 feet from the roadway.
Oops.
Should it be erosion control will be located?
Yes, yes, erosion, that's good.
There's a condition that Penny always talks about with the erosion control being the limit of the work. I don't know exactly how Penny has phrased it. Erosion control signifies limit of work.
Establishes?
Yeah, that sounds closer to what I've heard in the past.
And will be removed once the site is stabilized and revegetated?
Yes, that's the one that I was trying to think of the verbatim wording for as well.
So a great project for somebody would be to write all these down so we don't have to recreate them next time.
I'll just copy some of them down in a Word document right now.
That'd be great. So do you want to require a pre-construction inspection visit to make sure the erosion control is in place?
I don't know if Liam and Robin know that there's a cover letter that goes with determinations and orders of conditions with specific things, and one of them for both, but in this case, a determination states that a pre-construction site visit is required if you so decide.
I think it may be a good idea.
I think it's always a good idea.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I would include that in the, I guess, as condition number 2 here. Or no, wherever, yeah.
Okay.
So the only other thing I would add is that I think it's the obvious, but that erosion control will be installed prior to start of work. I mean, I know that that's what everyone expects, but
Yeah.
I've learned over the years that even things that seem obvious to us don't always seem obvious to other people.
Okay.
And I might make that first sentence into 2 sentences just because it's got 2, yeah, that'll do.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so then we go over here, and I've selected that it will be delivered by hand delivery on the 8th of September. So just so right now, it seems like when people live in town, it's easier for them to come. They either have to, if it's sent by certified mail, they either have to come to the post office to pick it up, or they can pick it up by hand delivery at town hall. So it seems most people now are picking it up by hand delivery. Okay, so I'm going to put your names in if that's okay with you.
It's okay.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Okay. Whoops. Maybe someone, while I do this, could explain to Miriam what we're doing.
As far as the document.
Electronic signatures, yeah.
Oh, right. So normally, we would sign these at a meeting, but we passed, we voted to invoke a certificate of a vote that allows us to do it this way during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Thanks.
Okay, all set.
So the only thing I would ask is that, so in the letter the cover letter, I know it tells people to look at the conditions, but the conditions are in such the information is in a different sort of location than it typically is in these forms.
Yeah.
So can you address that?
Yeah, I'll highlight it.
Just modify it slightly.
Yes, yeah, I will. It does say where the conditions are, and
that's right. The conditions are in the regular place.
Yes, they are. Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So the one other piece on this is the curb cut application.
I have right in front of me.
Yes. So you want to just maybe acknowledge that Robin, can
sign it on behalf of the commission.
Mm-hmm.
Hooray! Thanks, Robin.
Will do. And we also wanted to put a little asterisk at the bottom and list anything specific. And what would you like me? Can we agree on what we should add, if anything?
I would just, if you can add the conditions that we just put, just so they're in two places.
Can
we do that?
I don't know if there's enough room. Is there enough room, Robin?
Well, maybe you can just say, see conditions in determination of applicability.
Okay. See conditions.
Oh, Liam's raising his hand.
I also just wanted to say Glenn Stockton just joined the meeting. Glenn, if you wanted to just say hello and say why you're here, that would be awesome. You're on mute right now. I can unmute you.
Oh, sorry. Hi. I live next to the culvert. Sorry, I'm late.
That's okay.
So we did have the public hearing, but we have been recording the meeting, so you could have a chance to watch it, and that will be posted on the Concom website.
If you want to listen to the recording, Glenn, this is Linda Aviscott.
Hi.
Hi. You would need to contact the town clerk's office to access the recording.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Glenn, just so you know, the next time we will discuss this is next Thursday, same time.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, back to the curb cut.
Okay, so you were saying instead of trying to list them all, because there is not much room, Penny, you were suggesting I say, see the conditions.
So can I just interrupt to say that that the curb cut application is, you know, the highway department signing off that the curb cut can be done. So we could say as per conditions listed in the determination of applicability.
Mm-hmm. That's fine. Which is essentially what we do on a building permit application when there are conditions.
Yes.
Okay, well, I can do that. And Linda and I already discussed, I'm going to put in an envelope and address it to Tim Hunting, Highway Department, and say, this is regarding curb cut application 138 Locks Pond, and put it in the Dropbox tomorrow.
Yep, and you will scan it for us.
Oh, yes, of course, sorry.
Yes. Okay, thanks.
Like I always do.
Yes.
But thanks for reminding me. I could very
You're so
easily
good
find this, throw it in an envelope, and be done with it.
Okay, so Liam, you're going to get back to us on your availability for next week.
Yes.
And then we'll set a site visit. And
yeah.
And we've set the other one for the week, the Sunday after this. And I guess Miriam and Mary, right? Do either of you have questions for us at this point before we finish for the night?
Yeah, I had a question. Thanks. Prior to getting onto the Concom, being appointed, is it possible to go to the you know, the state Concom Association and access their trainings, or do you have to already be an official on the Concom?
Yes, do.
Okay.
Yeah. Is it possible to go on a site visit too?
So normally I would say yes. My concern about the site visit at the culvert, well, we're trying to limit number of people in close proximity, and I think there will be 2 representatives from minimum from the engineering company, and there will be 3 to 4 of us, so it gets a little unwieldy. And because if you 2 were appointed to the commission because the hearing's already been opened, I believe you can't weigh in on the notice. Is that right, Linda? Not easily.
Not easily. You could say, you know, it could be, if you could decide if need be, if someone were present for the entirety, that they could, but generally you usually are, you know, a member for the entire time, though you know, yeah. So generally you are a member before you can, you know, adjudicate.
Other questions?
For finalizing appointments, do you want us to come to a select board meeting?
Yeah, well, so, you know, we started out with 6 people who were interested, and it seems to be down to 2 at this point, from what I can see. And we have 1 spot for the moment until I step down, and then there will be 2 spots. So we just need to sort out how to move forward with this. And, you know, we're looking for someone to become a real asset for the commission. It requires sticking around for a little while. A lot of what we do is fairly straightforward, but it does require some familiarity with wetland regs to the point where you can consider the things that are part of our consideration and exclude the things that aren't. And I guess what would be great from the two remaining candidates is some sort of a statement that you're willing to make a commitment for, you know, I know people's lives change and it's hard to make a commitment for the long haul, but to stick with it long enough to be an asset to the commission. So if you guys are interested in doing that, then we'll sort out what to do next. But I definitely am grateful that you've stuck with it through this. Some of it's kind of tedious, but it's important work.
Yeah, I understand that there's going to be a learning curve, and it's really sad that you're stepping down, Penny, because you have such a wealth. You have a right to a life, but you have just so much expertise and knowledge to share. But so my expectation is that if I'm going to do this, I'm going to be making a long-term commitment because there's just going to be so much to learn.
Yep, and I got to say, you know, it was really several years before I felt confident in much of anything. And as you can see from tonight, we still do some things so infrequently that we sort of bumble our way through them. I don't think we've had to do a determination under our bylaw for several years, so
Yeah.
it takes some rethinking.
Yeah.
And Miss Linda's going to be sorely missed as well. Anyway, okay.
So I would just say too that, you know, I'm living here full time now, so I make a commitment. I'm in for the long term. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to stay.
Good. Well, that's nice to hear. Okay. Any other closing comments?
So I just want to say one item quickly, and that is that there is one notice of intent in the beginning stages. A building permit came through for 26 Lake Drive, which was for demolition and reconstruction. In March, you issued a determination for a well and septic installation at this site, and now they're going to tear down and rebuild. So I talked with the property owners and have them started on their notice. So, you know, the soonest it will be on the agenda is the 24th of September. Soonest.
Shaping up to be a busy fall.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. It's interesting that within the last couple of weeks, well, yeah, 5 building permit applications came through.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It is. Yep. So anyway, that's all.
Okay, well, thank you all and good night.
Well, you have to, you know.
I have to close the meeting?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
One quick question.
Yes,
Linda, are you
yes.
going to send us email us that determination of applicability we just filled out?
Am I going to do what?
So Robin, do you,
I'm not sure what say it again, Robin, please.
The determination of applicability that we just filled out, are you going to send us copies?
I generally don't, but I can. They go, you know, there's a paper copy that goes in the file.
Okay.
A digital to the applicant and then a paper copy to the applicant.
Okay.
In this case, normally it also goes to DEP, but in this case, this is only a bylaw one.
Okay. Never mind.
Oh, okay. Okay.
okay, I move to close our meeting at 9:07 p.m.
I second that.
Do you third it, Robin?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Robin Harrington, aye.
Liam Cregan, aye.
Kenny Jakes, aye.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Okay, good night,
Night.
everybody.
See you next week.
Thank you,
Bye.
Linda.
Bye.
Night.